Assalamu alaikum. This is brain lesson number 2, and in this one we'll talk very briefly about action and reaction. The whole purpose of this amazing brain series is to see how you can apply these principles in your life. So whenever I talk about something like action and reaction, keep asking yourself, okay, how can I apply this in my personal life so that thereby I can be a better human being, or I can succeed, whether it is in my studies or in my marriage or in my business. There are many ways that we can apply these principles. So in the first lesson, we spoke about the human brain in a cage and how we must break the chains around our brain. And I will keep reminding ourselves. So the first lesson is break the chain around your brain, and reading is vitamin tonic for the brain. Okay, let's get to this one very quickly. In simple terms, A stands for action, R stands for reaction, and there's a gap. There's a gap. The gap is represented by this arrow, by this black arrow over here. I just want to grab a pen quickly. That's action, that's a reaction, that's an arrow, that's a gap, and there's a key in the gap, right? What does this mean? Okay, in simple terms, the A stands for action, stands for something happening in your life. An event happens. R stands for your response or your reaction to what has happened. The difference between how you react to something and how you don't react to something depends on your person, on your personality. In terms of stress, there is known as the fight or flight response, but I like to add another dimension to that, which is known as the freeze. So it's a triple F, 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 F. If you see a lion or you see a dangerous situation, you'll either freeze, right? That means like a rabbit in the headlights, you'll freeze, or you will run away from the danger, which is flight, or you will fight, right? You will fight. So if running away is or fighting, or you're freezing. Freezing is worse because in our modern times, the lion, what is a lion in modern times? The lion in modern times is our stress. Our daily stress is the lion in our life. So when you're faced with work stress, or when you're faced with stress in your domestic life, in your marriage, or with your children, or you're going through a difficulty, everyone goes through suffering in life. I mean, our life in dunya is about a test. We're going through tests and trials and tribulations and difficulties. So everyone goes through stress. Don't tell me people don't go through stress. But it's how we manage the stress that's important. So say the A is the action, is the stress happening in your life, and R is your reaction. Or say, let's take a practical example. Say a husband and wife, or brother and sister, or two best friends. You know, because you know that person so well, you know how to provoke that person. That is known as the triggers, right? So the first time you provoke a person, you will have a gap here. That means you won't react immediately. But if the person tells you a second time, you start getting irritated. The person tells you a third time, and he tells you the third time, your reaction will be immediate. Boom! That's known as a trigger. You will fly at that person. Hey, stop telling me. I know what you're telling me, right? That's known as action and reaction. So the whole goal in life is that we must develop Islam teaches us about sabr, having patience. And in general philosophy, you hear about these master scholars and people who have reached high levels, whether it's the Sufi practitioners or whether it's various other people who is known, this is known as the philosophy of stoicism, to be stoic. Stoicism, S-T-O-I-C, stoic, means that when something is happening to you, you become stiff and strong, right? It's not freezing. It means you bear the hardship with strength, right? There's a very fabulous movie, The Count of Monte Cristo, in which he gives a fabulous line. It's pretty, I should have researched it and given it to you, but it goes something like, he said, when the storm comes, you stand front. The storm is a metaphor for the trials and tribulations in your life. When the storm comes, then you tell the storm, do your best, because I will do my best. Okay, this is the diamond philosophy. We are all diamonds inside, as what I mentioned before. But people throw mud onto that diamond, negative thoughts. So take that toxins out of the brain, take that negative thinking out of the brain, and we need to be diamonds. So in action and reaction, Islam teaches us when something happens, have sabr. That means increase the gap. Don't react, all right? Don't react. When something happens, even if someone provokes you, right? Someone is provoking you, don't react immediately. Excuse me, I apologize. They say in Memon, if you understand Urdu, right? I'm Memon speaking. They say My parents used to always say, my mother dear, my Allah grant Jannah al-Firdausi. And many of our elders used to say that, "Ye sabr jo kam, ye Allah jo kam hai. Ye rushing jo kam, if you're rushing, ye shaitan jo kam hai." What it simply means in English is that if you develop the habit of being stoic, something happens to you. Control yourself, control your anger, think before you react. Think. Once again, it comes to the brain. This brain is amazing. It's an amazing gift that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. We can condition it and program it to how we want to. Not on how people expect us to be, or not on how to please people. No, do it to earn the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right. So what did Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam teach us? Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam teaches us that if someone makes you angry, right? Someone provokes you, makes you angry. What is your immediate reaction? Or say someone criticizes you, or they condemn you, or they spoke a lie about you, and they tarnish your name and they tarnish your reputation. Immediately you get angry, you react, you react. What does Islam teach us? Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught us that, if someone provokes you or someone says something to hurt your feelings, right? So that is action, that is aggravation, they have hurt you, right? So that is an action, that is aggravation to hurt you. There's three things you must do. First, you control your anger. First thing, you control your anger. Secondly, you forgive the person. Third, you send the person a gift. Okay, it's not easy. It's very difficult to do that. Very difficult, depending on how you've been hurt, right? But Islam teaches us to be a better person, to be a gentleman, or to be a lady, to be dignified, to have the best of manners, morals, and personal integrity. Don't go down to that level of the person who is in the sewage gutter, who is in the toilet bowl. Don't go to that level, okay? If you go to that level, right, you'll be no better than that person, then you're part of the sewage. Okay, I just have about a minute or 2 minutes left. So the lesson is that sometimes if the person affronts you, and I'm not saying we never get angry. I mean, we are human beings. We are not sheep. Obviously, we don't get angry. And in some cases, it is absolutely essential to get angry. That's my own philosophy. I mean, if you see a case of injustice, you must get angry. Say, this is not right. I mean, the Quran is Al-Furqan. It tells you differently right and wrong. Say, okay, this is right, this is wrong. If something is wrong, you say, hey, no, I'm not going to stand for this. Help the person, help that widow, or help the person who's going through difficulty. Say, no, this is not right. So in those cases, obviously, you must get angry. But don't get angry to the case of, and I'm guilty of that. I don't want to put every time I blame, although I've got a stroke, I've got issues in my brain, I've got a spinal problem, I don't want to talk about my medical issues, but I don't want to use my illness as a crutch. I mean, I'm not a child. So I will say, I will keep trying to control my anger. And part of that is sabr. And every time you are trying, as long as you are trying. And the thing is, you seek the refuge of Allah. That's another important lesson. So firstly, the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if someone aggravates you, makes you angry, don't react immediately. Increase this gap. Don't let that person provoke you. All right? So he said, okay, now how do you do it? How are you going to control your anger? Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, seek refuge in Allah. Say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Say, oh Allah, I seek refuge in you from shaitan, because anger comes from shaitan. Right? Then Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and these are principles of neuro-linguistic programming. Imagine how amazing and brilliant our Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam is. These are principles of NLP, life coaching, neuro-linguistic programming. The basic lesson they teach you is you must change your mind, body state. If you are angry, change. And Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, yes, change. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if you're angry, if you are standing, sit down. If you are sitting, lie down. This is called NLP, mind, body change. Another thing is, if you're still very angry, go make wuzu. If you put water on your face, you already calm down. What brilliant solution from Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Alhamdulillah. Okay, that's the end of this. So remember, lesson number 2, action, reaction. Learn to be stoic. Life is not easy. Life is difficult. Have that sabr. But we'll learn more about this. This is all about success and how we can deal with life. Stay well. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.